Welcome everyone, I'm Jordan Sharp. The NBA free agency period is in its infancy, and even though we still don't have a lot of movement on the LeBron James and Carmelo front, there are still no NBA future odds right now at any of the sports books in Vegas or around the globe. However, there are some interesting prop odds from certain sports books. One of them, Ladbrokes, really caught my eye, and it's whether or not we will see a finals rematch this season. Now, of course, we saw a finals rematch last year, but this would be the first time in NBA history, if indeed the Heat and the Spurs got back to the NBA title game in 2015 to face off against one another in the third time in a row. 7 times we've seen a rematch in NBA Finals history, including last year, of course, and before that it was the Utah Jazz and Chicago Bulls back in the late 90s. However, never has the same two teams faced 3 times in a row in the NBA Finals, and at Ladbrokes, the odds to do that right now are plus 650, and it's very interesting because both teams could be as good or better than they were a season ago, which could make this a very interesting play here at Ladbrokes. Now, the Spurs, obviously, they don't have much to do in free agency, but they do have Boris Diaw and Patty Mills as free agents. Those two, I think they'll both be looking to re-sign. They have some cap space to work with as well to get those two back in the fold. I think they have about $10 million to spend this offseason, so they could be as good or maybe even a little bit better if they decide to go a different route, or if they can sign either of those guys to a little bit smaller deals than what some are projecting here. But the Heat, obviously the team to take a look at with this prop bet, and the team to keep an eye on, because if they look better than they were last year, which I think some people are projecting, could be a very interesting play here at plus 650 to bet that the Spurs and Heat could potentially, for the first time in NBA history, face off against one another in the finals for the 3rd straight season in a row. Now, the key, I think, will be Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Dwayne Wade, I think, will already have to take a very big pay cut, and Chris Bosh will be the interesting one to see if they offer him a deal that somehow insults him or is way less than what he was thinking he could be getting. He could potentially be on the move. There have already been teams that have speculated that that are interested in Bosh's services, including the Los Angeles Lakers. And at in his late 20s, this could be one of the last times Chris Bosh ever gets a chance to accept a max deal in free agency. He obviously took a little less money coming to Miami, but this could be the last time he could get a max deal, and he's definitely not going to get anywhere close to a max deal if he stays in Miami this season. So he really has to value here what kind of financial sacrifices he's willing to stay with Miami and LeBron James and try to get another couple titles down there, or if he wants to try and still in his prime go somewhere else, build and grow with a team there. It'll be very interesting to see what Bosh does. There's no chance in hell that Wade goes anywhere, but I think Bosh is going to be the guy to watch. But even if he does leave, I don't think that necessarily means the Heat are going to be drastically worse. In fact, on the contrary, I do think they could be actually a lot better, because without Bosh's money on the books, if Wade accepts something of the $5 to $6 million a year range and LeBron gets a max deal, the Heat are going to have about $20 to $30 million to work with here in the offseason. They could easily bring in a Pau Gasol and a Luol Deng on that money, with a couple of other guys to round out their bench. They could bring in Carmelo with that money and work around that and work on veteran deals to have Wade, Carmelo, and LeBron as the new big three in Miami. So a lot of things to think about here, but I think either way, both of these teams are going to be as good or better than they were a season ago, which makes this actually a pretty solid wager, and one that I would not blame anyone for wanting to take a stab at plus 650. But that'll do it for this Ladbrokes offseason NBA odds update. Make sure you check out my other one as well on whether or not any NBA team can go undefeated in a calendar month. But until then, I'm Jordan Sharp, and this has been another edition of the Sharp Pick.